Jameson, when we talked to Greg, I asked him what the difference is that separates teams in the final minutes when it's close in this league, and he said it's experience. Does this team have enough experience to close out games like this?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the thing is we're still learning, we're still growing. There's still a lot of young pieces on this team, and there's older guys on this team who have experience, and I think that's on me to, show that experience. Regardless if I haven't won a lot of Big Ten games, I still feel like I've played in a lot of meaningful ones and played in a lot of Big Ten games. So for me, I'll take the responsibility in that aspect where I got to be a leader in that regard. And in the end, we have plenty of experience, and I think that's the one thing where we just have to trust it. And in that, we have to understand that with that experience, it's like we've learned from it. We have scars, regardless if I was here last year or not. There's plenty of experience on this team.
And you guys are up 56-52 with about 6 to play, and now scored you 19-4 the rest of the way. What changed at that point? What did they have? What did you not have? How did you see the last 6 minutes?
Yeah, I think it's like you said, they have the experience and they have those guys, kudos to Tyler, kudos to Max, and the way they played, the way they finished down the stretch. But in the end, they just outworked us, not physical us. It showed them that scoreline. And in the end, that's where we have to get better. Finishing games, and when things are getting tough and when things are getting rough, we have to come together and, want it more. I think that's what the challenge is for us to step up for this next game, and I think we're all going to be ready and we're all going to be hungry for that challenge.
Wisconsin had some good perimeter defense moments throughout the game. In that first half, obviously you had to create your own shot a little bit, but what did they do in the second half to kind of take you out of things a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's just their physicality, and that's the Wisconsin brand of basketball that they've played since I've been in the Big Ten, and even since Coach Carr's been there. It's the physicality that they bring, and I think that's what ultimately led to our pitfall and led to our downfall. But in the end, I think we can be just as physical as any team, like Wisconsin and in the Big Ten as well. And I think that's what we have to work on, and I think that's what we will work on. And in the end, watching the film, we'll see it, and we'll correct those mistakes, and we'll get better and learn from it.
Jamison, defensively, what was the biggest challenge in the second half when Pleasant started getting going?
Yeah, I think he just started to get going. I felt like I remember when he hit a pull-up mid-range right at the free throw line. I was right there, and he just made it. And I think that's where people get in the zone, and he was obviously in the zone. So kudos to him, kudos to Max, and we'll just go out here and learn from what we did and what we didn't do. And there's nothing that we can do if someone's in the zone. We can try to contain them, and we were there a lot of times, and in the end, he just was feeling it.
To Adam's question about closing out games, does it feel like there have been the same things going on in some of these games, even the ones that you've been able to win when leads have disappeared in second halves?
I wouldn't say as much as that. I would say it's a collection of different things, and I think the biggest thing for us to close out game is focusing on the little details. And I think that for someone who's been a fifth year and who understands that, I have to be more vocal about that, and I'll take the responsibility in that aspect. But I think that's the biggest thing, is just honing in on those little details, because in the end, those little details ultimately lead to big things, and that big thing is losing games. So if we focus on those details, whether it's boxing out, rebounding, being in their position for the ice, stuff like that, where those little things are shored up, that's where games are won and games are lost.
Jameson, what is your message to the team? You said you want to take some of this on your shoulders, and you want to be the veteran, experienced guy. How do you address this with the team and try to make sure that this doesn't turn into what last season became for Ohio State?
Yeah, I think it's just us coming together, and the group of guys that we have is that we're all willing to challenge each other, and we're all willing to push each other, and I think that's what's special about this group. So in the end, we just got to come back to practice the next day, whenever we have practice next, and go at it and bring it. Good teams, they practice hard and they go hard, whereas sometimes practices are easier you're harder than the games. So in that aspect, we just have to bring it in practice, and the message is just keep doing what you're doing, but we have to do it at a higher level and just keep getting better. In the end, that's the message, is just improve every day. And if we don't improve, if we have something bad that happens, you can't look back on it. You have to learn from it.
We'll go two more. One with Jeff and then Andrew. Roddy has struggled a little bit since the West Virginia game. Certainly, you've had struggles throughout your career. What, as a leader, what can you say to him? What are you doing, trying to do to him for him to help him just relax and play like he had been playing?
Yeah, it's the line I just said, that in the end, you can't worry about the past. I come here and say this almost every interview, almost every time I'm in here. It's that the past is the past, and in the end, he's had his struggles, but it's always about that next play mentality, because in the end, you can't let the past define what's happening in the present. And for that, I think that's what Roddy has. He's someone who, in the end, we just have to help him forget about what's happened and move on from it, because there's nothing you can do about the past. There's nothing you can do to change it. The only thing you can do to change it is what you do in the present and what you do in the now. And I think that's the biggest thing with our team, is that we all have that open dialogue in the end, and we have some guys who have experience, and we have some guys who have been here and have felt those scars last year. So in the end, we just have to be able to come together as a team and, you know, move as one unit.
Thanks, Demo.
Good. Thank you, guys.
All right, give Wisconsin credit. Thought they played they're a really good team, really good team. So give them credit. We'll learn from this and move forward. Questions?
Same question that I asked Jameson about experience and what separates teams in these final moments. Like, what is this team still trying to figure out? I guess in some of those moments, you fought back at times. In Indiana, you fought back, but today, for them to close the way that they did, what is not happening in those?
Well, we didn't make shots for one. Missed a couple free throws. I think those were critical. I thought some of our looks were really good at them, to be honest with you. And then we had probably 2 breakdowns defensively, but I just think we got to be able to make some of those clean, easy looks.
So some of those looks, like Bruce missing the front end of 2 1-on-1s. He looks like maybe his legs, he looks a little fatigued. I don't know, are you seeing some of that, and do you need to develop more from your bench to help?
Yeah, maybe we might have to look at that. You know, I don't know that that's. I know that's probably going to be a common thought with his legs, but you know, I think he's more than capable of making that. So, but I do think we need to get more out of our bench.
Kind of going off that, what went into the rotation, the decision to shorten the rotation tonight, you know, with Zed and Dale playing less than 10 minutes there, really, you know, a lot of large stretches of the game, you guys were only running 6 deep, it felt like.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of the way the game went.
Fair enough. And you know, I guess how close do you feel this team is to kind of breaking through the last couple games here? You know, you've had a lot of shots that weren't falling, but were good looks. You know, maybe.
Yeah, you know, I really think I thought we had some really good stretches of play. I really did. I thought we did some really good things. I thought our effort, Felix's effort in the second half was much better. You know, I think we obviously got a couple guys that are struggling to make shots right now. But we'll look at it. I think when you're playing a good team, you know, we had a few too many breakdowns, and then we can't shoot 4-10 from the line when you're playing a good team. But I think the score didn't really reflect how close this game was. Obviously, anybody who watched it knows that. So give them credit. Again, it's a good team, veteran team. Give them credit.
Chris, you mentioned there was a few defensive breakdowns in your mind. When did those occur recently?
Really, the last 4 or 5 minutes. I thought they straight line drove us a few times. We didn't plug a gap one time that we certainly should have, and our ball screen coverage, that was another one.
Are there things that you feel you can build off of with Roddy? Because the last 10 minutes were mostly better aside from that last minute turnover, but do you think there's things you can take away as positives, or is it just...
Yeah, I like how he attacked. I really like how he attacked there late. Thought he had an opportunity to attack in the open floor one time where he kind of settled for that 3. You know, we didn't do a good enough job getting to the line when we were in the bonus. So that's something I've got to help him with, and we've got to do a better job of. We got to be able to get to the line when we're in the bonus at that point, and we just didn't do it. And when we did do it, we didn't convert.
Obviously, Roddy, Jamison, and Bruce are going to be your go-to scorers, but you mentioned needing more from your bench, but just guys in general. Are there guys on this team who can step up if those guys aren't hitting or being contained?
Yeah, but we've got to help them too. But I absolutely believe we do. You know, we've got to help them. So that's going to be important for us as we continue to get into the guts of Big Ten play.
The late stretches again. People coaches talk a lot about, you know, well, my team just knows how to win games. We know how to win it at the end, You guys are struggling in that situation. How do you see that with this group of trying to figure out how to win and close?
Yeah, no, I think it's everything we've talked about. We have to be just better and tougher in those moments, and then I think a couple times we got to trust the pass a little bit more than what we've done. But at the same time, we really got a couple of the looks that we exactly wanted, if I'm being honest. So
mental and physical.
I think there's probably some of that. We got to get over the hump there. In some of those areas, guys got to just, kind of. Some of these guys are we're going through it. They're young in their career. We just got to be able to rely a little bit higher level on our defense, and then be able to convert some of those easy looks.
Yeah, just one last thing. The kind of the three guys who are your leading scorers, how concerned were you before the season? Are you still concerned? I know we just talked about a little bit, but like, man, if somebody could really step up, what would that mean for this team? If a different guy maybe on each night kind of help fill a gap.
Yeah, I think we've got to look at it as a staff and see, who that might be. It may not be, one particular guy. It just may be a little bit more from a number of guys. I think, the challenge is right now is, we really need high level detail stuff from some guys right now on both ends, and I think that alone would help us, and that's what we're challenging with.
Chris, when I want to go back to a little bit, you're talking about the screens. So, you guys did a good job in the first half, especially of getting over ball screens, whether it was Bruce or Roddy or Scotty. But when they went under, it kind of seemed like they were getting open mid-range jumpers. Do you plan to address that either in terms of hedging or blitzing a little more?
When we weren't going under many ball screens. Yeah, they got to the mid-range a couple times in a couple isolation situations. They made a 3 off of an inbound when we went under and we shouldn't have. But outside of that, there weren't many times that they got open looks off of us going under. But they did get to the mid-range a couple times, and they straight line drove us. And we had poor communication on ice on the side where they drove it and got to the lane.
When you talk about identifying secondary scoring, how close is Scotty to be that kind of guy that can kind of take that next step and take on more of the load offensively?
Yeah, I think for him right now, he's got to kind of let it happen. When he lets it happen right now, he's really effective for us. You saw that in the Indiana game. I think he's got to, sometimes he can get a little bit, force things a little bit. You just got to let it happen. You just got to stay aggressive, let it happen. I do think when he does that, there's going to be opportunities for him to be another scorer that we need for sure.
Back on the defensive end, you guys, AJ Storr was really shooting well in the first half. In the second half, you did a good job containing him, but then some other guys like Chucky and Max kind of started getting going in the second half. How do you think you did a good job of containing Storr, at least in the second?
Yeah, we changed our coverage on him and put 2 on him in a couple situations. And then the one late hurt us because he was able to kick it to Klesman for an open 3. But outside of that, we were able to contain him with the change in ball screen. But like I said, it did allow 11 to get a clean look.
2 more now and then Adam.
Chris, Felix had a big and one there off an offensive rebound and then followed that with a huge block. What kind of impact does he have on this team, both defensively and then in rebounding, especially offensively?
I thought he was good in the second half. I did not think his effort was where it needed to be in the first half. But I thought in the second half, he was really good for us.
Looking at the stat sheet, we were talking about it before you guys came in here, there's not much that really stands out as far as being a huge separator. And so with respect to the fact that you're playing the number 15 team in the country, and Wisconsin does a lot of good things, like this is a second straight loss, and I know it's tough to win in the league, but like what gives you confidence that this team has what it needs to not let this survive?
Yeah, no, I have a high level belief in this team. I really do. Yeah, I'm being completely honest. I have a high level belief in this team and what we're doing, and the fact that we're going to grow. Last year is last year. I've got this is a different group. The leadership is different, and it's early in the season. And I think the challenge for us right now is to take this and learn from it and grow. We have to be tougher in certain areas. We've got to be able to finish plays, but. I've really got a high-level belief in this group, and I can't emphasize that enough. Doesn't mean we're not going to have some struggles, but I really do think the challenge for us now as coaches and players is to learn from this, take some of the positives that were real in this right now, feel the disappointment and have that challenge us to be better in the areas that that we need to be better at. We need to finish plays better. We need to be able to obviously make our free throws. We need to have the confidence to make open looks, and I think we need to be able to rely on our defense to close games out better than what we did. So I'm confident in all those things, and I'm really confident in this group. All right, guys.